Thanks, Ron, and thanks for introducing Trellix. That might be a new vendor to some of you, or you may think it's a new vendor, but as Ron said, we are the best of McAfee and FireEye combined. We joined forces in 2020, and we are really committed to being a trusted cybersecurity partner for your space across all three branches of the US government, at cabinet level agencies, and all four branches of the US military. So we are deployed, we're tested, we're trusted, and so I'm happy to be speaking with you today. I always like to ground my conversations in the challenges that you're all facing. I'm sure you guys have this top of mind. I don't need to remind you, but you're facing, sophisticated attacks from nation states. And when we're thinking about the public sector, those really have far-reaching consequences to critical infrastructure. We're dealing with potentially legacy and outdated systems in a context of budget constraints, which can be challenging. And then across industries, we're worried about data breaches. But when we're looking at the sensitive data that the government collects, we really have concerns around identity theft and handling, that data in a trusted way from the public. So I want to talk to you a little bit today about how we at Trellix are supporting you in addressing these challenges, trying to make your life a little bit easier in terms of addressing that. And a lot of what we do is through our partnership with Amazon. So we have a strong relationship with Amazon. It's been a game changer for analysts in terms of what we're able to offer through our tools. You can see at the bottom of the screen here, we've listed out our competencies, which we're really proud of achieving. So we have that AWS Secure Software competency and others. And not only is Amazon one of our partners, but we use them. We use them for our cloud offerings. We use them for storage. We use their security lakes. And if you're using the cloud, our Trellix products can help you secure that cloud. And I am going to focus in terms of products. I'll introduce a lot of what we can do, but for the time I have, I'm going to focus on our Helix Connect product, which handles that integration and can bring in the Intel and the Gen AI Assist in that tool. So we have, again, with this history of FireEye and McAfee, a broad platform that is AI powered across endpoint, across network, across data loss prevention, even email. Helix Connect is our tool that brings it all together. And you can see we call out third party here because that's so important. If you're looking at Trellix to come in and help you in one area of your security operations, we want to make that as easy as possible. We want to integrate with the tools you have. We're not looking at ripping and replace. So if you are interested only in Helix Connect, we will bring that in. You can feed in your third-party data and get the benefit of our rules, our intelligence, our advanced research center on top of the AI analysis that I'm going to show you. If you're interested in any of the other products, if you are looking for a new endpoint solution, I'm more than happy to talk to you about that. But again, we're not really looking at rip and replace. We're looking at complement. I also want to call out that Trellix earns the DoD IL5 high provisional authorization, which certifies that our technology meets the rigorous standards required to work in the DoD cloud environment. So if you are working in the cloud, we have that authorization. And we also have the FedRAMP high impact level authorization. So if you're working in the cloud, we can work with you. If you are working only on-prem, we have on-prem solutions too. So we are, as a vendor, we're committed to supporting folks who are working in those network latent environments. So I'm going to get into how our platform is AI powered, and I do want to, before we jump into the what we're doing, just address concerns that are top of mind for everyone, right? If you're feeding AI, if you're using AI in environments where you've got detections, you are concerned, as you ought to be, about whether or not we would be using your data. And absolutely not, 100% no, we do not do that. So we have an advanced research center, which puts out research like I had at the top of the deck here on top threats. They're looking and looking for patterns of detections and can write rules that work in all environments. But really, there's a lot going on that might be anomalous in your environment and turn out to be malicious that may not be malicious in someone else's environment. So we don't want to have any biases or mixing that way. on top of the privacy concerns. So the way that we have our AI model set up, we have an LLM that is trained on general security concepts. And as we query and look at your detections, that is read only. We're not training that model on any other data. The security know-how is totally separate. And then we layer that with the tactical detections seen in your environment to provide some context for analysis. So how are we using it? How does this work in our tools? So here's an example of context that our Wise, Trellix Wise is our AI assistant that Wise can provide. This came out of a detection, and I didn't do the screenshot because there's already so much text here, but a detection on PowerShell usage that looked out of the ordinary, right? And an alert can say something happened, you have to take a look, but it's the analyst that has to look at that and determine if it's important to follow up on or it's actually a non-event. So the AI can assist the analysis. So it can say, okay, based on the alert and the user involved, this was a sales director. We would not normally expect sales directors to be using PowerShell. It's not inherently malicious, it's just out of the ordinary. Then we also see that the PowerShell command ran just after content had been downloaded from GitHub, right? And that's an potentially untrusted source. So that adds to the level of maliciousness in our understanding. The AI also saw in the collection of events for this alert that there was a download of a file that had a double file extension, so cutepuppyjpeg.exe. And this really colors all of the other events because there are not a lot of reasonable explanations for why you would have this double extension. You know, maybe David's a super technical guy and he automates stuff with PowerShell scripts. We can explain that away, but it's harder to explain away this double file extension. And so the AI puts this all together and makes this assessment. Given these factors, we think it was a successful attack because we saw execution. And so it's recommending that it escalates the alert to a critical severity. But it doesn't simply provide that recommendation, it gives that context. And that context for analysis is really important because we're not using AI to replace any of our workforce. We're using it to assist them to free their time so they don't have to do virus total lookups. They can have the information, make an assessment, and use that analyst know-how, use their craft the way that they would like to spend their time rather than chasing down some of these mundane actions that the AI can assist with. So AI is great at this use case. Find me the things that I need to pay attention to. So in our Helix Connect system, you'll see we can aggregate data from other tools. And so we get millions, billions of events coming in. We apply the Trellix analytics rules and intel to make detections. And we work tirelessly to make these detections meaningful and not generate false positives, but we don't know your environment, right? So these detections are always going to be in the context, and you are the person, your teams know the baseline. And so Trellix Wise can help you then whittle down those anomalies to the 10 alerts that really matter, making great use of the analyst time. And I will say, I don't have a slide on this, but the inverse use case, what we're not seeing here from the slide is from those 1,000 anomalies. Wise is also adding context to those detections that actually were non-events in your environment. So it's not that you're not spending time on them, but you can comfortably and confidently understand you don't need to go into extra analysis because it's been done for you. So here's a screenshot. We have Wise in a variety of our tools. We have it in our network NDR tool. We have it in our EDR tool. Here's a screenshot from our data loss prevention tool, and we can see that Wise decorates the alert. So the first bit is we update the case name, so it's very clear that Trellix Wise is adding some context. We also see that it was able to make an adjustment to the severity based on the analysis. In the left window, we see that executive summary. It would also include, and I'm sure the text is a little small for you, but recommendations, and this is going to reduce the burden of the analyst. And then finally, on the right, if the analyst has questions, they can interact with the AI and ask questions and follow up and get more context. So when this is all done proactively, the analyst comes in, they're still reviewing, they're putting their expertise on it, but we've just made that much more efficient. So as I said, we do use Wise in a variety of our tools. We are powering our platform. I want to focus in on how we're using it with our Helix Connect tool. If you're not familiar, Helix Connect is our XDR solution. And so we collect data from a variety of data sources in the modern enterprise. We've got office and data center, we've got assets in the cloud, we have a remote workforce. So we can collect all of that data and ingest it into Helix Connect. We are, as I mentioned earlier, committed to being able to integrate data not only from the Trellix platform, but from the data sources that you're already working with in your environment. We have over 1,000 different native and open security tools that we can integrate with. I'll show you how we can do that in the cloud. We also support that on-prem. And so here's an example of some of that data. You know, your classes will look a little bit different, but again, a variety of different events. We parse this and normalize. And where this comes into play is in the anomalies that we're able to detect, right? So we have best in class intelligence doing best in class detection, and then we're layering the AI on top of that. So we're matching against our rules and intelligence. We could add in a flow here for AI enhancement, and then the tool is also going to allow us to do response and automations, which is not my focus for today, but I'd be happy to um, answer questions in the chat about that or follow up. If anyone's interested in seeing this tool hands-on, you can drop a note in the chat or I'll put my email there. You can follow up with me and I can give you access to our training environment. And the reason that we do that is because that's pre-populated with some data so you can kind of play around and see what is available. So at this point, I want to move over and just show you this tool live. So I am going to swap my windows, and I did just before I start log in here, and so hopefully it did not time out. We will see how we're doing here. So the first bit is I want to talk about the integrations that we have. So on our dashboard in this demo environment, I can see the classes of data that's coming in. This is a pretty lightweight demo environment, but we've got open source tools like Bro Zeek logs. We've got Microsoft DNS in there. Obviously, we have some of the Trellix tools like they still have their old naming here with FireEye and McAfee. We've got AWS VPC flow logs. So lots of different things that come in. How do we get that there? Well, we have an integration hub for our cloud integrations. And it is, to quote my friend George, stupid easy to set these up. So if I want to add a new integration, I've just clicked through. The UI is quite intuitive. And then we can browse the available integrations. If I know I want to integrate with Amazon, as an example, I can filter here and see the data sources here, right? So I can bring in my guard duty logs, I can bring in CloudTrail and CloudWatch. And then to use this, to set this up, I click through and I've got the details that I need to collect. And the tool is going to tell you the steps that you need to do to get the information and plug it in. And I think a lot of times kind of maybe the bureaucracy of getting access to that or getting someone to agree to give you those details can take longer than actually just popping them into the tool itself. You can see for the AWS Guard Duty, we have an ingestion feature. Some features allow tasking. So if we were integrating with like a ticketing system, we can task and automatically generate tickets that way. So that's a quick bit on our integrations here. And what I really want to focus in is on the detection. So if we come here to cases, we've got some, do the right one. We'll do the new cases, the new feature here. Let me see. I might think I ended up in the wrong place. Give me 30 seconds. I know you've all probably been on the spot for demos before, so we'll just try to make a quick adjustment here. So what I want to show you is the cases feature, and I had some slides and screenshots of the capabilities, but that's never quite the same as seeing it live. So once this loads, I will take you into our cases here. Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. Well, this is not. Ron can vouch for me. I was in here yesterday. Let me. All right. Well, I don't want to struggle with this too much and spend your time. This is telling me I need to add a screenshot of this next. So in the Helix Connect tool, like what I'll just go back to the DLP. So like what we saw with the DLP, you get the annotation, the adjustment to the priority, the event context. And so all of that is going to just make the analyst's life that much easier. And the one bit I didn't get to show in that analysis is it gives you the context. It also includes all of those underlying events that have been fed in, and it gives a summary of the time. And so on the alert sample that we saw with DLP, it might say something like saved 3 minutes and it analyzed 32 events. And I can tell you, I can't read through 32 events in 3 minutes. So I think that estimate is a little bit conservative, but we can see how that compounds with the number of events that we're dealing with over time, right? In terms of the hours saved at ingestion, the hours saved during alert triage and investigation, and it really can compound into the amount of time that you're saving in a month, not to reduce the number of analysts that you have, but to free them up or to give them more sanity in their life when they're overwhelmed with the detections that they have to look at. So I hope I've piqued your interest in the Trellix AI powered platform and seeing how we're working with AI. We use Wise again in our endpoint solution, our network, our data, our email, and our Helix Connect. And if you're interested in seeing the Helix Connect, especially since I wasn't able to demo it to the fullest extent today, please drop me a note in chat or send me an email, and I would be happy to set up access for you for a week or two so you can explore. Thank you so much.